In the dim light of a forgotten attic, dust motes danced lazily in the air, settling on the long-neglected treasures of childhood. Among the remnants of faded dreams, an old board game lay half buried beneath a stack of yellowed newspapers. Its box was tattered. The colourful illustrations of candy-coated landscapes and smiling characters, now grotesque and twisted. The title, Candyland of Nightmares, was scrawled in a jagged font that seemed to writhe as she read it. Sophie, a curious 20-something with a penchant for the macabre, felt an irresistible urge to uncover the secrets of this cursed game. She had always been drawn to the darker side of life, and the thrill of the unknown beckoned her like a siren's call. With a shiver of excitement, she brushed off the dust and opened the box, revealing a warped game board adorned with decaying candy canes, sinister gumdrop mountains, and rivers of thick red syrup that glistened ominously. As she set up the game on her kitchen table, a chill swept through the room. The air felt heavy, charged with an unsettling energy. Sophie dismissed it as a draft, eager to dive into the macabre adventure. She picked up the dice, their surfaces slick and sticky, as if they had been dipped in something far worse than syrup. With each roll, she moved her piece, a grotesque little figure that resembled a twisted version of a candy fairy, along the board. The first few turns were innocuous enough. The game seemed to follow the familiar rules of chance. But as she progressed, the cheerful illustrations began to morph into nightmarish scenes. The gumdrop mountains transformed into jagged peaks of bone, and the syrupy rivers turned into streams of dark, congealed blood. Sophie's heart raced as she landed on a space marked the Licorice Pit. The board trembled beneath her fingers, and the air thickened with a rancid odor. A voice, low and guttural, echoed in her mind. "You've awakened us, sweet child. Now, you must play." She shuddered, but the thrill of the game kept her glued to her seat. She rolled again, her hands trembling as she moved her piece forward. The board responded with a sinister glee, the ground beneath her shaking as if it were alive. With each turn, the game grew darker. The once innocent candy creatures began to emerge from the board, their faces twisted in agony, their mouths stretched into grotesque, silent screams. They clawed at the edges of the board, their fingers dripping with a vicious, red substance that pooled ominously around her game. "Stop!" shouted, but the game had a will of its own. The creatures began to crawl from the board, their bodies stretching and contorting, their candy exterior melting away to reveal rotting flesh and bone. She could see their eyes, hollow and filled with despair. "You must finish the game," they wailed in unison, their voices a cacophony of despair, "or you will join us forever." Desperation clawed at her throat as she rolled the dice one last time. The numbers spun in her mind, a blur of madness. The board shook violently, the walls of her kitchen closing in, the ceiling dripping with a sticky crimson substance. As she moved her piece, a final space revealed a horrifying image, a gaping maw filled with darkness and despair. The creatures shrieked, their voices merging into a single deafening roar. "You are ours." With a final, defiant scream, Sophie hurled the game across the room. The board shattered, the pieces scattering like leaves in a storm. The creatures dissolved into the air, their anguished cries echoing in her mind as she stumbled back, gasping for breath. But the victory was fleeting. The remnants of the game pulsed with a sinister energy, the blood pooling around her feet, rising like a tide. Sophie realized too late that the curse of Candyland of Nightmares was not just a game. It was a binding contract, a hunger for souls. As the darkness enveloped her, she felt the game pulling her in, the candy-coated horrors ready to claim her as one of their own. And as the attic fell silent, the remnants of the cursed game lay quietly in the shadows, waiting for the next curious soul to uncover its terrible secrets.